Alright, hey y'all. So today I will be reviewing Trinity versus Deonna at Emergence 2023. I watched it yesterday actually in full for the first time, so now I'm going to give my review. Before I get into this review, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and promote and support Black businesses. So let's talk about the match. So before we get into matches, if you're new here, I like to go into gears just to have some more fun with reviews and to kind of stand out, because I feel like, gears, it's nice to talk about gears on a pay-per-view, because like pay-per-views is really a time you could serve a new look, a new gear, a new hairstyle, whatever. So let's talk about gears. So Trinity had all white and her hair was the same color format as the Canadian flag, because the pay-per-view Emergence was in Toronto, Canada. So Trinity's hair was red and white, but her gear was all white. It was really nice. Her look, she looked amazing, as always. Deonna, I don't think this gear was particularly new. I could have swore that she wore this gear before, because I have a render of her in my phone that I have for comparisons in my phone, and I promise you she's wore this gear before, so I don't think it's a new gear, but regardless, it's still a very nice gear. Now, who do I think had the better gear? I feel like Deonna had the better gear, only because I feel like Trinity wearing all white. Look, the gear being all white isn't bad, but I feel like if she had red on the white gear because her hair was already white and red, that would have really made the gear pop out. Now, despite Deonna having the better gear, I feel like Trinity had the better look because her hair stood out more, but I feel like Deonna's gear overall was just better. But I do think Trinity's gear was nice. Now, as far as the match itself, so the match starts off. Okay, mind y'all, this was a submission match, so let's keep that in mind for this video. This match had a stipulation on it, and it was a submission match. And I said that they're probably going to do that because Trinity was the first woman to tap Deonna out in Impact Wrestling, and so a submission match is probably coming because they made a huge deal about that. So keep that in mind. So the match starts off. Trinity does they start off with a lockup, of course. And then Trinity starts getting some momentum. She brought back her axe kick that she hit on Rhea Ripley in their match last year when they faced off on SmackDown. She did her springboard enziguri from the corner, like how Nikki Bella used to do that corner springboard enziguri, like the roundhouse kick in the corner. She did the diving crossbody. And just, basically just getting momentum. Oh, no, and then she did what's it called? Like when she's in the corner and her opponent catch her feet, and then she would sling her opponent. Her opponent would sling her in the corner, and then Trinity would rebound and hit them with a roundhouse kick. She kicked the mess out of Deonna, and then she hit the springboard enziguri. So after that, Trinity did a baseball slide, and then she did a tilt-to-whirl head scissors attempt, but then Deonna dropped her on her head with a pile driver, and then threw her back in the ring, and for a minute, she was dominating Trinity, like, really bad. There was this one point in the match where Deonna had a straitjacket hold applied on Trinity, and then eventually she hit a straitjacket backstabber. I don't care what nobody says. I feel like that was storytelling to throw shade at Sasha, because when Trinity first came to Impact, Deonna kept walking. She threw shade at Trinity, saying this is not something you could just walk out of. And then when they had a promo battle after Trinity defeated Deonna, she was like, "Unlike you, I'm not a quitter." And then Sasha walked out with Naomi. So like, do y'all see what I'm doing here? Like Sasha, she, and I feel like it was clever because when Sasha, when Sasha was in NXT specifically, she would use a straitjacket submission, and sometimes if her opponent was getting up, she would use a backstabber, but keep the straitjacket applied instead of releasing it. So I feel like that was shade to Sasha, and I feel like that was so clever in storytelling for Deonna to hit it on Trinity. Iconic. Like, she did what she had to do there. Like, I live for that moment. That is storytelling. I love me some storytelling moments. Trinity eventually got some momentum. I believe after Deonna just kept dominating, Deonna kept hitting, trying to apply the armbar because that's her submission finisher and it's a submission match. And Deonna was being heavily technical based, and Trinity, you would think she would try to match submission technician ability with Deonna to hold her own since it's a submission match. But for whatever reason, Trinity was covering Deonna after that. She would hit moves. Like, I think she hit a Samoan drop and she was about to pin her, but then she kicked up. I think she hit the rear view and she pinned her again. She hit some other moves and she almost pinned her. She hit an SOS, which she botched. She was paying tribute to Kofi Kingston, but her and Deonna, it just did not mesh well. and she messed it up, and she tries to pin her from there. And last time I checked, in a submission match, pinfall is not available because the only way you can win is a submission match. If you play a submission match in 2K, the only way you can win is if you apply submissions. So I did not understand for the life of me why Trinity and Deonna were Trinity specifically, why she was covering Deonna. And yes, she was the first woman to tap Deonna out, and I understand why they would have her have a submission match against Deonna. But it's just like, Trinity's not a technician by any means. Yes, she has a finisher. She has a submission as her finisher now, Starstruck. But just because you have a submission as your finisher does not make you a technician. And Trinity, of all people, she's not as well-rounded as a lot of her fans think she is. So she doesn't have that submission technicality or enough submission technicality to match technical ability against somebody like Deonna. Like, it's common sense. And it showed. Like, why do you think she kept covering her? Because she's not a submission person. She could have, like, added some submissions to her arsenal. And she has some other submissions in her arsenal that she used as Naomi. But all she had was a stretch muffler, a bow and arrow stretch, and maybe a camel clutch submission. Like, you know, like, if there's, like, she has momentum as a heel, and she just holds them in, like, a camel clutch or whatever. That's it. That's basic submissions that you will learn in training as a wrestler. But that doesn't make her a technician. And yes, she has a Starstruck as her finisher. But again, just because you have a submission as your finisher does not make you a technician. Secondly, their chemistry is not that good. I am not going to sit here and act like Trinity and Deonna have been putting up these classics just because Trinity is no longer in WWE and she's facing off against Deonna Purrazzo, because nobody would expect a year. Okay, 2022, you would not be thinking Trinity would face Deonna Purrazzo. It's something you would never expect. But just because it happened doesn't mean it's good, and this is an example of that. Their matches together aren't that good. This match was better than their other match, but that's not saying much because their chemistry just is not that good with one another at all. They did better in this match, but their chemistry is just not that good. They don't have that chemistry where it's just like they can put up banger after banger after banger or consistently good matches against each other, because they've yet to put up a solid match. Well, this match was somewhat solid, but I wouldn't say it was good. It's not a match that I would personally rewatch. And I feel like both women have better opponents. Like, if I was going to recommend some matches to a newcomer who wants to watch Trinity, I would not recommend. I'd first recommend her matches with Deonna. I recommend her match against Charlotte. She had on SmackDown. Her SummerSlam match with Natalya. Deonna, I would refer her matches against Jordynne Grace. Like, these are not the matches that I would be like, hey, go rewatch this because it's a classic. Like, because it's not. They just don't have that type of chemistry, and it shows. And for this to be Trinity's first defense, and for her to have had faced Deonna to win the championship, so like just the match quality in her reign alone so far, it's just not looking so good for her right now. And apparently, her next opponent is going to be Aisha or Alicia Edwards, and I saw some clips of her. And she doesn't seem like she's the best in the ring. So the match quality in this reign so far is not looking so good. And it's so sad to say, because it's just like, you would think that with Trinity walking out, this would be an opportunity for her to prove that she can, you know, hold her own as a wrestler and beat those allegations that she's, you know, not as good as people hype her up to be. But unfortunately, those allegations have not beat, because while Trinity is talented, she's very good in the ring. She's good in the ring. She can put up good matches. This reign is not helping these allegations at all. Like, and it's sad to say, like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. It just isn't. I'm tired of Trinity versus Deonna. They don't have chemistry at all. They don't have good matches against one another. We don't need to see it for a third time. Oh, third time's the charm. No, it's not. We don't need to see it. She tapped her out twice. Get over it. Move on. If Deonna and Trinity happen to face off again, it needs to be in a triple threat match against Jordynne Grace. That's it. But regardless, this match was better than their other match. What would I rate it? Probably 2.25 out of 5 stars. That's what I would rate it. Not really my favorite match from either one, but it is what it is. Hopefully, Trinity gets a match against Jordynne Grace, because right now the match quality in her reign, it's not looking good for her so far, and it's so sad. But anyway, that's my review. Hope you guys liked it. If you happen to like the match, then I'm happy you enjoyed it, but I can't say the same for myself.